Job well done, crew. Did we talk to the Thunderfang already? I think we did. Just a bunch of damaged pirates. Nothing we can steal. My boys will fetch you anything your heart desires. Do you have anything they're interested in to turn in? Heretic trophies? Xeno artifacts? Jewelry? Sort by the things they're interested in. Armor kit. 150, that's not nearly as good. They're interested in fuel? They're a bunch of pirates. You'd think. Lockmaster Victor's
Permission to report, Lord Captain. Members of a sacred cult operating aboard this ship have requested an audience. They wish to present gifts and introduce themselves to their new captain.
What sacred cult?
They call themselves the Bloodspun Web. The cult defends the flagship from both internal and external threats. Lady Theodora held them in high regard and looked favorably upon their activities.
I'm ready to receive them.
I will commence preparations at once, Lord Captain.
They're blade dancing. Some public executions. Life and death and love and birth. Trotting. Can we speed this up? Yes, we can. People love to just walk around in this game. Maybe there's music playing. Those on the deck watch in awe as the final figure moves gracefully into a ceremonial pose. Some of the officers whisper in excitement while others murmur prayers to the God Emperor. Kibella. They fall silent as a tall young woman steps forward. She moves toward us soundlessly, the dim light casting shadows across the mask which conceals her face. The undying Emperor commanded us to spin a web of blood around his children, and we obeyed. We obey still. The masked cultists repeat the words in a mournful whisper. We obey still. Domin Vespa von Valencius, death has whispered your name. The woman's slender finger has been fitted with a metal claw. She points it in our direction and gazes at us from behind her bone mask with the grim, cold eyes of an assassin. We disown Domin Theodora. We renounce our oath to her. She pulls out a sinister curved blade, and similar weapons suddenly appear in the hands of her motionless companions. And now we give the gift of our blood to you. It is the gift of death. Their blades sing through the air, and rivulets of crimson flow onto the deck. The young woman bows her head reverently as she hands us a heavy parcel. The others bow their heads as well. They seem unconcerned by the blood that trickles down their fingers. Death has whispered your name. The followers of the tenets of the web swear fealty by their new overlord and offer proof of their devotion. We give you a blade, the silent verdict. The Undying One has chosen you to wield this instrument of death. We give you one of our own, Kibella. She will be your shield and shadow, and we give you the blood of these traitors. The tenets of the web will purify their souls. Silent verdict, is this a fancy sword? Wow, a two-handed sword. Death cult weapons gain the following. Does a lot of damage, but we're already set up for dual wielding. We have heard many stories about death cults such as this one. These devoted holy assassins of the Imperium have turned death into a form of worship of the Emperor. They are exemplary slayers, invisible executioners, and the scourge of traitors, heretics, and fallen souls. Many righteous people honor them as votaries of the faith, while others see their fearsome rituals as frenzied spectacles touched by madness. Examine yon cultists. The cultists are all voidborn. Their lithe, sinewy bodies are clad in light armor, which allows them to move with an acrobat's nimble grace and strike with an assassin's swift surety. Their red and black vestments are adorned with sharp spikes and ritual jewelry. Where time and training have worn their garments threadbare, we can make out patterns of bleeding lacerations. Examine the captives. The prisoners cower beneath the weight of our gaze. Blood drips down the tear-stained faces of the captured officers, technomats, and workers. A word has been carved into each of their foreheads with meticulous precision. Traitor, heretic, apostate, renegade. The cuts have been diligently and regularly reopened to prevent healing. These renegades committed treachery against their domain. Their lips once praised the name of Conrad Voigtveer, but it is your name they will whisper as they cross over to the other side. Interesting. So a death cult watches over my crew, they who honor the Emperor through killing, who devote their every deed to serving him. Sacred executioners. Domin Vespa has discerned our essence. This is a great honor for the Bloodspun Web. We have woven the base of this ship together with the threads of our faith for many years. We keep his greatest relic, his tarot, through which he sends us blessed revelations. We obey the whispers of the Undying One. This is our service to him. This is our service to you. A ringing sound fills our ears, deafening the noise of the world around us. Time goes still. A voice whispers seductively in the back of our mind. How interesting. Devout assassins who believe themselves to be instruments of a higher power. They revel in violence and cannot tell the difference between bloodthirst and piety. They follow their faith blindly, unaware of how closely they tread to corruption and depravity. Look at them. They stand on the edge of a precipice. The smallest push will send them plummeting to the abyss. You could be their downfall. All you have to do is push. What exactly does a cult like the Bloodspun Web do? That's a weird way to say that. Surely I guess they're probably not unique. The tenets of the web teach us to read the threads of the future and understand the hearts of others. When a soul is filled with the poison of corruption, we know its time has come. We bring liberation. 3 strikes, 3 rebukes, 1 blade. This is how we serve the Undying One. This is how we serve you and your flagship. Her gaze is perfectly still, but there are others. The virtuous martyrs who contravene his design without realizing it. Those who have come too close to faltering or committing an apostasy but not dead yet. We present such souls to the Undying One. Instead of helping those who may soon stumble, you offer them death? She stares at us in bewilderment. We follow his design. We claim those marked by his omens. We submit to his will. How could it be otherwise? You kill innocent people. We do not desire their death. We do not seek them out in the darkness. They come to us. Kibella closes her eyes for a moment. She takes a deep breath. And we usher them from this life if his sacred tarot reveals that the Emperor wishes to accept these martyrs. You mentioned tenets of the web. Our laws and teachings, our philosophy and way of life, our art of combat and spiritual dogma, the tenets of the Bloodspun Web itself. Humanity owes its existence to the Undying Emperor's sacrifice. It is he who protects us from the darkness and terrors. Hence, each of us has a duty to serve him. And, she says with purpose, a duty to die for him. To act otherwise is to waste the life that has been given to us by the Undying One, to become a thief. We help others understand this. We help them to live and die righteously. I disapprove of your practices. Let it henceforth be known that the Bloodspun Web is forbidden from killing without my permission. The cultists glance at one another uneasily. How would you cast down your sword? Would you cast down your sword at the enemy's feet in the heat of battle? How can we be an instrument of the Undying One's will if you forbid us from serving you through the tenets? I have spoken. Have we transgressed? Have we caused offense? The worried cultists whisper among themselves. The sounds of their anxious voices fill all. What will we do now? What service can we offer him? Kibella claps her hands twice. The sound echoes off the ancient walls of the deck, and the cultists fall silent. We are the threads that bind the darkness. We are here to serve you. If you command us to set aside the rites of sacred slaughter, then it is our duty to obey. Tell me about yourself, Kibella. Are you the leader of the Bloodspun Web, or its servant? I am the second spinner of the Bloodspun Web. The honor of this title is bestowed only upon those who've ushered more souls than... She abruptly stops. She touches a slender finger to the fresh wound on her hand and paints a symbol of a lock across her lips in blood. It is shameful to speak of one's own deeds. I am here to become your shadow, not to make boasts. Nod toward the captives. Why have you brought this rabble to the upper decks? So you may offer the souls of those traitors as a gift to him. Kibella touches her sharp blade reverently to her lips. The captives tremble in fear at the sight of the weapon. You have the authority to order their execution. Their blood will bind us together through him. For the God Emperor, the Undying One, is death itself. The Undying One is duty itself. Give the order, Damen Vesper. Let a spinner of the Bloodspun Web undergo the test of a sacred trial. The others echo her words from beneath their bone masks. Undergo the test. I will judge the traitors myself. Then I will tell you of the treacherous blood that runs through their veins. Advance! Hasten! Trot, 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 trot. These wretched apostates were caught trying to sabotage the reactor. They are guilty of treason. I swear we are not A woman in a tattered protective suit pushes forward in protest, but her movement is halted by the thin cord wrapped around her neck. We notice that all captives have been similarly restrained. The woman clutches her throat as a thin line of scarlet appears between her fingers. theft of weapons, sabotage, and the deaths of the crew in Bay AL-82. Do you have proof of these charges, or are such claims the result of cultic revelations? There's doubt in the Infernus Master's gentle voice. With all due respect, it is difficult to discern the truth of these accusations without evidence. Divine visions and dark portents may be reason enough for you to shed blood, but not everyone here shares your perspective. Enough, Heinrich. The Lord Captain will decide the truth of these claims for himself. What about those prisoners you killed during the procession? Did you feel entitled to stand in judgment over them? Those scoundrels aided the trade of Voigtveer and were caught carrying weapons. Their guilt and sentence was certain. They avoided immediate execution only so that the blood of the wicked could flow in a scarlet trail that led the blood-spun web to your glorious halls. Cabela, is it true these things were revealed to you through visions? The practice of sacred divination using the bones and sinews of a martyr led us to the reactor room. This is true, but it is also true that I beheld the act of treachery with my own eyes. What does the accused have to say in their defense? The cords around the prisoners' necks are loosened just enough to let them speak. Have mercy, we're just technical tunnel workers. We were told to block the ventilation shaft leading into the reactor room. Fume leakage, supposedly. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong. We were just following orders. And as for what we were holding weapons, that was, well, you know, she scratches her cheek nervously. She's lying, an injured officer scowls angrily. They smeared blood on themselves and crawled out of the tunnel wailing, "Oh no, the ship's been attacked. There are enemies everywhere. Defend the bay." We rushed off to investigate, and they used their cutters to break into the weapons storage at our guard station. They stole guns and headed straight to the reactor room. Bone and sinew revealed your hubris. You abandoned vigilance for the promise of glory. You did not give weapons to the traitors, but you left your post to seek a hero's path. Though you did not act with treasonous intent, you are complicit nonetheless. I will not punish you or your men. Continue your service and do not make any more mistakes. These commoners wanted to enter the reactor room? Boil them there. This is confusing to me. So, what? The officer seems to have really damning evidence here. So, why abandon vigilance for the promise of glory? Oh, the injured officer is all I see. So the officer and the heretic are both under trial here. The officer's not. Yeah. Well, let's let him go. I will not punish you or your men. Continue your service and do not make any more mistakes. We will never forget your generosity, Lord Captain. We will repay your loyalty with our lives if need be. What should be done with the rest of the prisoners, Lord Captain? These commoners, I shall spare the lives of the workers, for their guilt is unproven. Let them labor on the ship, but under the supervision of the enforcers. Sauerbeck looks in disgust at the captives, who are shedding tears of relief and praising our mercy. My people will see to it that this scum never again fails the dynasty in either word or deed. The Lord Captain has spoken. Take them away. I could not honor you by ushering the souls of those traitors to the other side. This troubles me, for I wish to serve you as the sword serves its master. Will you make me your shield and shadow, Domin Vesper? Your lordship, the spinners of the Bloodspawn web were watching, tracking, and killing Von Valencia's enemies long before the war on a trade passed the Lady Theodora. However, their blade has also been known to cut short the lives of highly upstanding persons. The factotum swallows nervously, casting a fleeting glance at Cabela. But I certainly do not in any way condemn the deeds of the deeply esteemed cult. I am sure they must have had good reason. The Master-at-Arms clears her throat. The cultists are the scourge of the seditious. They bring the unrighteous to ruin. The enforcers respect the blood-spun web, for we share a common goal, to bring his light and his harsh dust justice to the darkest depths of the ship. Scourge of the seditious or not, folks are afraid of them for a reason. A couple of watches ago, these spinners took a train driver to pieces for some kind of ritual. I don't know what old Malik did to earn that privilege, though. And who's gonna feed his family now? Heinrich takes a drag of his low stick, exhaling the thick smoke through his clenched teeth. But that's a lower-decker problem. What matters is that the blood-spun web serves you faithfully, Lord Captain. My predecessor's predecessor once delivered a sermon about how the spinners saved this vessel from the servants of the archenemy. The blood-spun web paid the price in blood, a river of scarlet that flooded the decks from bridge to bilge. They became the blood of the flagship, the pulse in its veins, and the beat of its heart. Their great sacrifice earned them the favor of House von Valencius. Confessor, tell me of the spinner's great sacrifice. The vessel was beset by famine and pestilence during a long warp jump. The flagship wandered uncharted paths in the immaterium for 20 cycles straight. Servants of the archenemy used the despairing hearts of the crew to infiltrate the ship, and death followed. The hungry became the hunted. The famished became a feast. The exhausted crew was too weak and emaciated to resist the invaders, but the spinners emerged from the depths. They stood alone against hundreds of foes, yet they did not falter. They did not sleep or rest as their blade-tipped dance brought death. Though many spinners fell, the blood-spun web held strong until the flagship left the turmoil of the warp. I wish to hear what my retinue thinks. What was Argenta's voice like? I've heard, though only at a distance, the prayers the spinners offer up to him. I've seen how their deeds fill the people's hearts with confidence in the inevitability of his wrath. The blood-spun web's loyalty to the Emperor is without question, as is their willingness to lay down their lives for the fight against the archenemy. Although Lady Theodora never granted the cult an audience or brought a spinner into her retinue, she respected the blood-spun web and approved of its mission. Wait, what did she actually say? She's into it. It is strange. Their shadowy forms are swathed in darkness, yet a radiant light burns within them like scarlet flame. I think it is a good sign. It is rare to see anyone filled with such light, even among servants of the faith. You will be my shadow, Cabela. Cabela's movements are slow, almost rhythmic, as she removes her ceremonial mask. The dark shadows of her eyes accentuate the deathly pallor of her skin, which is covered in ritual scars. Henceforth I am your shadow, Domen Vespa von Valencius. An instrument of death placed in your hand by the Undying One, for so it was ordained, and so his tarot forspoke. The young woman bows her head once more. I also come bearing an invitation from the Vizier of the Bloodspun Web. He wishes you to know that the doors of the Undying One's temple are open to you. Are you suggesting the Lord Captain should go down into the depths of his flagship to search for this temple? With all due respect, the lower decks are for servants and crew. They are not fitting place for his lordship. Forspoke? What do you mean? What tarot? The greatest and most sacred relic of the blood-spun web, the Emperor's tarot. Only his chosen servants may earn the permission to rain blood upon the cards and perform a reading to see portents of the future, shadows of the past, or tangles of the present. However, the secrets of his tarot are not for the ears of lay people to hear. I cannot tell you more. Not here. Not now. Who is the Vizier? He is the first among us. The Vizier has spun the web of faith for 5-fold longer than I have lived. Blood of the flagship's blood, my mentor and teacher. Why is the Vizier not here to deliver the message himself? The first spinner is old. His abode is in the temple beneath the flagship's freight line, and he has not left the lower decks in decades. Even a short journey could sunder the spirit from his ancient body. Where is your temple located? I am not permitted to say. If you wish to find the temple, you must walk the path of Saint Ariane, the matriarch's spider. Hers was the thread that would become the blood-spun web. Her path began deep within the flagship in the dark tunnels of the freight line, and that is where yours must begin as well. This journey will bring you closer to the thread of the web, closer to the Undying One, closer to understanding death. I do not see the point of this riddles. Your temple is part of my flagship. What is to stop me from simply walking inside? You must become the blood of the flagship before you can enter the sacred temple of the Undying One. I cannot guide your way, but I can walk by your side. I will walk in the footsteps of the matriarch's spider. Your journey will begin in the darkness of the deepest tunnels. The Vizier awaits you. The cultists retreat to the shadows as Cabela sheathes her ceremonial dagger. Your blade awaits direction, Domen Vespa. We'll speak again when the time is right. A veritable city sailing through the void. The ship has numerous compartments we can visit. Navigate these compartments using the map of the ship. We know about that. We've been doing that. Where is Cabela, though? Let's just talk to her now, since we're here. There she is. Take me down here, please. Hello, Cabela. Domen Vespa. Cabela puts away the dagger she's been using to reopen her freshly closed wounds. I would like to know more about the sacred mysteries of the death cult. The Vizier taught us that there are many like us throughout the Imperium who spill blood in his name. Death cultists, they call us. He said that no two death cults are the same, just as no two identical stars in the void. I will tell you about the blood-spun web, but I cannot speak on behalf of all death cults. What is the cult's purpose? The blood-spun web holds the bays of the flagship together with the threads of its faith, such as our service to the dominie of the von Valencius line. the Undying One commanded the Domini to embark on a ship and sail the void's expanse, and thus it became our duty to protect your dynasty and your ark that became its home, this great relic of blood and adamantine. Some loathe and fear us, call us murderers and reapers. Others call us dancers of death, who send the souls of the dead on their way. Both are right, both are wrong. We are servants of the Undying Emperor. When he whispers that the time has come for the righteous martyr's soul to be laid in his blessed hands, we come to claim it. When he whispers that the wicked must know of his wrath, we come to reap. This is how we maintain order on the ship, unseen and guided by death's will. You hear a whisper in your mind telling you to kill someone and you obey. Have you ever considered that these whispers could be a deception orchestrated by the minions of the archenemy? Cabela shakes her head slowly. Death's whisper is unmistakable. It is not like the murmur of stars or the hiss of corruption. It is truthful, pure, unyielding. Only the most eminent of us, the high spinners, can hear the whisper of the Undying One and give voice to his will. They must hone their senses and temper their body and soul for years before his call can reach them. If it puts you more at ease, you can think of these whispers as his providence. How do you know you've never made a mistake? How can you be sure you never wrongly robbed one of your victims of their life? We are carried along by a current of blood on the great river of fate. Life is not given or taken away by chance. If I see an enemy of humanity, my blade will sever the thread of their existence. I will not wait for a sign of his divine bidding. I am his will, and I do what must be done. Be that as it may, your thirst for blood is troubling. There is no thirst, only duty. Killing brings us no pleasure. We are instruments of his will, and this is how we serve him. Let us speak to something else. She stares at us intensely, perhaps too intensely. She says nothing. How long has the blood-spun web been in existence? Spinners carved the chronicles of our history on the stones of our temple long ago, but fate and time have erased our past, just as an exploding star erases a part of the galaxy from existence. What are the responsibilities of the Vizier? It is the Vizier's duty to watch over the flock, to lead those who want to learn more of the Undying One but are fearful of death, and guide those who seek answers in death but do not know how to live. The Vizier protects all, those who do not know we exist, those who are grateful for our service, and even those who hate us. The Vizier sees what is to come, remembers the past, and accepts the present. They spin a web of faith and blood so strong that no enemy may sunder it. This is the Vizier's burden. This is the legacy of the matriarch Spider. Who was the matriarch Spider? It is said that she was one of the many. She was one of many, born in the void, the Domin's subject. She honored death instead of life, and for this she was persecuted. It is said that when the archenemy's forces invaded the flagship during a warp jump, she gathered the Undying One's servants around her and saved the ship from ruin. Together they spun the first threads of the web to ensure that such devastation would never happen again. It is said that she was strong and indomitable, but as the years passed her heart became as stone, and thus the Undying One whispered her name to the one who would become the first Vizier of the blood-spun web. How do you call yourself Spinner? Why do you call yourself Spinners? Through blood, sweat, tears, and the strength of their convictions, the servants of the Undying One spin the souls of your subjects onto the threads of balance. That is why we refer to ourselves as Spinners. Those who are newly committed to the blood-spun web are called lesser Spinners. If they are faithful in their service to him, they may eventually become Spinners. The most devout of us are known as the High Spinners, of whom there are 7, each bearing a unique title. The Vizier, the first spinner, leads the cult. I, Cabela, am the second spinner. The third spinner's name is Io, and there are 4 more. We say that the God Emperor is death. There are some who might find the comparison blasphemous. Cabela frowns. The Undying One is death itself. We serve him, and thus we serve death. This is not a comparison, attribution, or preference. It is the truth, and nothing can change it. Can you teach me to follow the tenets of the blood-spun web? The tenets are knowledge, an art that is passed down from one generation of the blood-spun web to the next. Even so, there are spinners who will never fully comprehend this knowledge in the time allotted to them by the Undying One. The tenets dictate how one follows the thread of life, but they are also the thread itself, from first breath to last. The tenets cannot be taught. They must be lived. Only then will you understand. Satisfied for now. Tell me about yourself. Our question seems to take Cabela by surprise. I am the second spinner of the blood-spun web, a spear in the hand of the Undying Emperor. I am your shield and shadow, your blade. How succinct. Do you dislike talking about yourself? A look of curiosity flashes across Cabela's face before it is masked by her usual stoic indifference. The tenets compel us to let our deeds speak on our behalf. There is no one in the cult who does not know me, so I have grown accustomed to taciturnity in matters regarding myself. Ask, and I will try to give you an answer that will satisfy your thirst for knowledge. Tell me about your past. A melancholy shadow passes over her face. I remember nothing of my childhood. The vizier tells me this is because of my training and the injuries I received in battle. He told me it is the fate of all high spinners. The only memories I have are of the blood-spun web, and of the bare brothers and sisters who served the cult alongside me. What was it like growing up in the cult? What do you remember? When we were young, we would sew our eyes shut and wander through the bays for months at a time, starving, surviving, dying. This trial of darkness honed the senses of those who passed it. We were elated, for we knew we were blessed by him. When we grew older, we learned to wield our weapons, and our mentors tested us with pain, poison, and the weight of deceitful words. In time, our bodies no longer felt pain. Our blood became resistant to toxins, and our focus could not be shaken. We were at peace, for we had shed everything we could encumber our faithful service to him. When we came of age, we faced a great trial, a year-long vigil spent in unceasing prayer to the Undying One. When hunger and other base sensations faded away, we attained true comprehension of ourselves and our place in the world, our place between life and death. We were proud, for on that day he truly accepted us, and we accepted him. I see. My story is not as interesting as yours. Your parents, your family, you never mention them. When we join the cult, we relinquish our past. The blood-spun web becomes our new family. I have seen the pain, terror, and doubt in the eyes of those who hear the Undying One whisper the names of their kin. For some, the blessing of oblivion is a gift not unlike death. Do you not wish to remember or to know what became of your family? No. The answer escapes Scabella's lips before she can give it any thought. Upon realizing this, she produces a small blade seemingly out of nowhere and begins to sharpen it with pointed nonchalance. You may not remember your real family, but are you truly so unconcerned by the deaths of your fellow cultists? It brings me no comfort my brothers and sisters cross to the other side. The Undying One has called them to his side so they can serve him in ways we cannot. I presume you have no friends either. Attachment makes us weak. The weak meet their demise prematurely, but such death does not please the Undying One, for a soul must not be claimed before that time has come. It is true that spinners occasionally cross paths with those outside the cult, but such paths always diverge in the end. We may walk the same road together, but we are nothing more than temporary traveling companions. It is similar for those in your retinue. Our threads may intertwine for a time, but all will go their separate ways, as is inevitable. But not you and I, Dome and Vesper. Our threads cannot be unwoven, and only the Undying One will end my service to you. I understand you better now. Know your enemy and prevail in battle. Know your ally and prevail in war. Do you truly feel no pain at all? You can see it for yourself. Cabela removes a small leather pouch from her belt and opens it to reveal several instruments of torture. Very well, let us see just how impervious to pain you really are. What are those? Tools for tempering the flesh. If a spinner neglects this practice for too long, their body will weaken, and their sensitivity to pain might return. If it does, they will feel the overwhelming agony of every wound they've ever endured, and go mad with the torment before the Undying Emperor whispers their name. Tormenting yourself almost seems to give you pleasure. Is it possible to experience pleasure if one feels nothing? I will not torture you. The pouch vanishes as quickly as it appeared. You honor me by taking me at my word. Your fighting style is unique. Do you think it's something I can learn? She gives us an appraising look. None dispute your skill in close combat. Your body is well hardened, and perhaps you could even learn some of our techniques. Our art, however, is more than just patterns of movement. It is one's ability to give oneself completely to the dance of death. To fight as we do, you would have to empty your being, to start anew, to reject both the title of Domin and all the memories of your own past. Thank you for sharing with me. It is not difficult to speak the truth. Gesture at the scars covering her skin. You torture your own flesh. What is the meaning of this ritual? Torture? Cabela arches an eyebrow. I bear the sacred marks of the Undying One's service. Death has bestowed them upon me. Though others may cherish hollow riches or meaningless beauty, it is my duty to cherish his gift of blood. Each wound is a symbol of our service to him. Each drop of blood carries his blessing. To renounce these scars is to renounce the Undying One himself. She stops and tilts her head. Then slowly, as if in a trance, she draws her black dagger. Death whispers to me, "You are worthy of bearing his marks." Tell me, Durban Vesper, Do you wish to honor your flesh with his gifts? We noticed several officers exchanging worried glances as they eyed the blade in Gibella's hands. It would be an honor to bear the mark of the Undying One. I presume this will not be a painless procedure. I have not felt pain in a long time, but yes, your body will certainly suffer. Embrace the pain and make it a part of you. It will be your salvation, even on your darkest days. It will be an honor to bear the mark of the Undying One. Let it be so. Gibella waits patiently as we prepare ourselves for the ritual. Once we are ready, she carefully presses her blade to our skin and carves the sacred symbol into our flesh with skillful precision. The wounds sting and burn painfully as they begin to bleed. Treasure his gift, Dermot Vesper. Inscribe it in you each time you pray. May his blessing find you. Did you ever meet Theodora von Valencias? I met her once when I was young. The vizier saw a serpent hiding among those close to Dome and Theodora, ready to sink its fangs into her throat. I was ordered to find the serpent and sever the soul from its body. I watched and waited for weeks. I hid among the shadows, the air ducts, and the faceless masses. Once I found the serpent, I sliced off its head and returned to the temple. I doubt that Dome and Theodora ever saw me, but the 3 ritual cuts I left behind on the body let her know the death was pleasing to him. They sent us a grand feast from the upper decks before the cycle's end. We gave it to the hungry. You always address me as Doman. What does that word mean? The Gothic we use to communicate is different from that spoken on the upper decks. Doman has many meanings: giver of life, lord or lady of the ark, and shadowless sun. The matriarch Spider gave this title to the rogue trader, who allowed her to form the bloodspun web. We use other titles as well. For example, Vani means master of the Immaterium, or watcher of the veil. Veil means one who must go to the other side. Amek means one you can trust in battle. If the Undying One whispers my name, will you carry out his will? If the Undying One chooses to take your soul, he will take mine along with it. You will not fall by my hand, for that is not my duty. Tell me about the Emperor's Tarot. I use blood to read his sacred cards and hear the whisper of the Undying One. Cabela's voice is filled with reverent awe. His tarot is not an answer, but a question I ask of the universe, and the universe answers with questions of its own. In this sacred communion, I perceive hundreds of possible outcomes. They are all true, and yet they are only visions. I know what will come to pass, and yet I do not. The Emperor's Tarot is usually read by sanctioned psychers. Cabela's brow furrows. I am a spear of his retribution, not a witch, a sorcerer, or a soothsayer. I have no strange powers, but I do obey his blessings. I do not command the veil. I am guided by his whisper and not by my faith, and led by my faith, by the tenets. Please do not mistake me for something I am not. We occasionally feel a shiver run down our spine and detect faint sparks in the air when we're standing next to Cabela. It seems her powers only manifest when she is practicing divination, or in moments of pious exaltation. Cabela herself does not seem to be aware of her gift. How did you come to have a deck of his tarot? It is a holy relic that has been passed down from generation to generation. Only the first and second spinners are allowed to study the sacred cards and interpret their meaning. We use his tarot to guide the cult and discern the tangled threads of fate. How many cards are in your deck? 34. There used to be more, but some have perished in the darkness of time. Their loss is a great tragedy for the bloodspun web. How'd you get into a tarot? Didn't even say. Can you give me a reading? Ask the cards, Devon Vespa, and I will listen. Cabela carefully takes out her Imperial Tarot deck. She carries it with her. A black blade flashes before our eyes, and blood drips from her palm onto the cards. She closes her eyes and listens. What does the future hold for me? Cabela draws 4 cards from the deck and lays them face down before us. The first card is the Young Warrior. It suggests inexperience, a path of becoming. The second card is the Shattered World, inverted. The path will have twists, turns, and thorns, but you will gather allies along the way and find what was lost. The third, the Hound, inverted. Someone has marked you as their prey and is chasing you through a field of traps. The Lost Child, you will leap into one of those death traps of your own free will and place your trust in someone truly desperate. She nods slightly. Let us speak on something else. I must take my leave. May the Undying One shroud your footsteps from the faithless. So how much better is that sword than our swords? 8 to 13? Are you kidding? Versus 16 to 19? Lower armor pen, I guess. I guess I'm 15 to, yeah, but it takes 2 2 action points for me to actually attack twice, I think, which I don't think I can afford. Need to work on my AP economy to actually run that game. However, if Cabela's going to be in my crew for now, she can probably use that fancy sword, and that would be perfectly fine. Alright, well, I thought we were going to get off this goddamn ship, but I guess it's time to go down and search for the blood cult. I think this is a long diversion. Freight line. Oh yeah, Cabela's got levels. Nice. Trot, trot, trot. Edok Frenzo. A sturdily built man with an augmented jaw stands at attention. The dark circles under his eyes speak to many sleepless nights, but his voice is loud and spirited. Welcome to Freight Hub LD 987A14, Lord Captain. I am Edok Frenzo, Captain of the Enforcers in Lower Deck Bay LDA-14. The Master-at-Arms has assigned me to be your liaison for the duration of your stay here. Lord Captain, would you like to inspect the control room, or to begin your search for the Temple of the Bloodspun Web? He says the last part with obvious concern. Just thinking about the prospect of walking around the lower deck wounds our refined senses. Our mind conjures vivid images of filth and poverty hanging in the air, seeping out of every crack, gnawing their way through our skin. It seems you were prepared for my visit. How did you and Sauerback know I was coming now? The Master-at-Arms ordered us to be on standby after the Bloodspun Web openly invited you to visit their temple. We have been awaiting your arrival every day since then, Lord Captain. Do you know how to reach the Temple of the Bloodspun Web? I'm sorry, Lord Captain, I do not. No one knows. The cultists are too adept at hiding and keeping their secrets, and it worries me that you might have to walk around the entire compartment looking for the temple. Why are you worried? Is there a problem with this compartment? The lower decks are not suitable for someone of your status, and it's not just the grime or the crowds of brutish laborers. I suspect that the entrance to the Temple of Death is hidden in some dark corner where you might encounter criminals or contagious outcasts. With the kind of riffraff that dwell here, you might even be attacked. Cassia shivers. Such ghastly places you describe. We are not headed there, are we, Lord Captain? He frowns. To put it bluntly, although the Bay performs its functions well, even its more civilized sections are sorely lacking in discipline. I was only assigned recently, so I haven't had time to straighten everything up, since doing so will require making some serious changes. I am not inventing excuses, Lord Captain. As the officer in charge, I accept full responsibility for what takes place in this compartment. Being assigned here almost seems like exile. Did you commit an infraction? He shakes his head fiercely. No, Lord Captain, quite the opposite. I was commended for my service. This compartment has always been a troublesome one, and the Master-at-Arms assigned me here because she thought highly of my merits. I am honored to have Mistress Sauerback's trust. What do the lower deck officers think of Jocasta Sauerback? Mistress Sauerback possesses all the personal and professional qualities required to lead the Enforcers efficiently, Lord Captain. He enunciates each word with pride, and we notice drops of sweat on his brow. I hereby offer you my assistance, Captain. I shall conduct an inspection and then share my thoughts on how to change this place for the better. But Frenzo stops himself mid-protest and assumes a more compliant tone. In that case, I urge you to remain vigilant. The freight trains move at great speeds, and the inhabitants of the residential units are despicable rabble. One must never drop one's guard around them, and Emperor preserve you from stumbling into the pestilence pit. That's where the madmen and lepers live. Tell me about this station. Hub LD 987A14 connects the lower deck's freight, residential, and artillery bays. Our task is to monitor the flow of labor force and prevent supply disruption between bays. Who maintains this hub? Traffic controllers. They're technomats trained by priests of the machine cult to keep the sacred cogitators in working order and prevent train collisions. The consequences of an accident like that would be easy to imagine, especially if one of the trains were carrying macro cannon ordnance. Also employed here are an enforcer squad, a team of Inferni, the clerks who keep cargo records, and a Medicae officer, a fine chap whose medicine is choice as a bullet. May the God Emperor forgive him. Not every void ship can boast of its own railway. That is true. Usually higher class ships are the ones that get trains, but it's far from the greatest thing a rogue trader's warrant can see done. The credit here goes to Lady Theodora's predecessor, on whose orders the Adeptus Mechanicus assisted in birthing this miracle of sacred engineering from the womb of the dynasty's flagship. What's the situation on the lower decks? Most of the locals unload trains and sort provisions. We give maintenance jobs to the more capable ones. The rest are reserve workforce. Whenever crew are lost on deck, we find replacements among those rats. And if extra hands are needed anywhere else, there are always more than enough volunteers eager to work for rations. They even queue for jobs. The rabble cause you no problems, I hope. Surely you're joking, Lord Captain. The rabble are base in nature, and mutiny is always on their minds. They steal whatever they can get their hands on, and lately they've moved from rations and tinned food to weapons. We confiscate these regularly, of course, and keep the serfs meek and terrified. That's the only way we can protect the mindless herd from themselves. Oh, another thing the bastards do on a regular basis is build their shacks in front of service tunnel entrances. That has delayed the arrival of Infernus brigades during several emergencies, and caused air and power supply problems in adjacent bays. We burn these saboteurs along with their shacks, but they just keep pressing on regardless. Mutinous rabble, how paranoid of you. To the best of my knowledge, being paranoid is practically a requirement in our line of work. In any case, the rabble are always plotting. Take my word for it. I have learned enough. I'm always at your service, Lord Captain. The cult of the Bloodspun Web has a presence in this compartment, does it not? That is correct. The enforcers do not bar them from carrying out their sacred duties, he scowls. As irregular as it is to have armed crew members set up a secret hideout forbidden to the enforcers, and then they can go around dispensing bloody justice. What do you know about these death cultists? Not much, but I'm always trying to learn more, given that they like to pay visits to my compartment. Frenzo scratches his head, thinking. The Spinners honor the Emperor through death. They kill notorious reprobates and heretics. Sometimes they kill righteous folk, and other times even seemingly at random. Their rituals are morbid and their prayers are strange. Anyone not initiated into their rites would struggle to make any sense of them. Do you not take issue with the death cultists killing people on your territory? Well, they stopped doing that recently, and what a relief it was for me. I couldn't exactly breathe easy with trained killers walking about. I see. The captain grumbles silently under his breath. Be steadfast in your duty, Captain Frenzo. The Emperor protects, Lord Captain. Very nice. Alright, we got some levels to dole out. Another goddamn Blade Master. We'll just take recommended ones. Be smart. Anytime an ability or talent uses the Void One's Fellowship bonus, you can use Intelligence instead. Can always upgrade Intelligence. How is her Intelligence? Yes, I just want to see her stats. It's low. I mean, I don't know how often she's called on to use Fellowship skills anyway. Bloody mess. Wow, 10% chance to do double crits. Contagious luck. Using a non-damaging ability on an ally grants that ally ability to reroll any failed attack. She doesn't use abilities on people though. Jinx. I don't like this. No. No. Just a flesh wound. 20% chance to survive after suffering lethal damage, so I feel like one wound. Raining blood. Blood blessed and blood stained. Each creature affected by Bloodlust or Bloodstain gets +1 stack of the corresponding effect. Wow, and it just stacks unquestioningly. Both the ally and their target stand in blood-covered cells. Wow. I'll take Crimson Tide. Raining blood just gives these effects. Yeah. You just slice them and they go woof. They spatter. Open the veins. Wait, does that cause bleeding? +1 stack whenever bleeding, burning, or toxin is inflicted. Wounds during blood. +1 stack each time bleeding, burning, or toxin. Wait, is that the same? Each time it suffers damage, each time they're inflicted. I see. Parries or dodges, and uses the bloodstained effect. Let's take Danza. I'll take Crimson Tide. Seems like she's proud of that ability. Or wait a minute, can we just boost our... Do you have like sword efficiency? Dual weapon combat was the one we took. So it costs 3 AP to do this? That's really brutal considering how many other options we have. I think that may have been a really poor choice. Melee weapon specialist. No, nothing for fucking swords. Oh, power weapon expert? Is it a power weapon maybe? I think it's a power weapon. Or Citer? Is that melee? with a Weber in a round does not count toward the attack limit per turn. Staggering Jolt, Arc Rifle, Swift Movements. Tool Weapon Specialist. No penalties or increased cost of the first attack was either an Axis Sweep or a Hammer. Raises harsh shove ability. But I don't have that. Why aren't you giving me bonuses for swords? Plasma Bank. Oh, that's not... I thought that this indicator meant melee, but it clearly does not. This UI sucks. Wow. Liturgy of Insulation. It will not die. Oh, can't go wrong with that. Yeah, let's just take increased health. I'm fine with that. And weapon skill, please. That's chance to hit as opposed to damage. More stuff. Blood Oath. Marks a single enemy vowing to dispatch their mark. Next attack can't be. If it kills them, you heal. And you gain +1 AP along with an additional attack this turn. Use multiple times per turn. Wow. That's pretty sweet. Oath of Vengeance. Select an ally. Acrobatic Artistry. This one that takes you right back. That was really fun. That was really powerful. Captive Audience. Count as full cover. Oh, that's fun. They become cover? Unfortunately, she doesn't have an AoE yet. Oh, but she will if she uses the big sword. Maybe we should take Captive Audience. That sounds like fun. Next attack, yeah. Oh, and it inflicts bleeding. Yeah, definitely. I didn't even notice the bleeding component. That's amazing, man. That's really good. Coercion. Well, what have we got? What are you good at? You're good at carouse-ish, but Abelard's already better at that. Cassia's better at that. Oh, she's really good at Medicae. Okay, you're our Medicae. She knows all about bodies. Weapon skill again, please, or should we go with strength? Strength is quite low. Any blade answer attacks me to 5%. Oh, wow. Okay, that's great. We'll just go with that. Maximum wounds +8. Wow. Steady hand. Parries up. No less than 1. Balance on the edge. We'll take blade in his hand. That's straightforward. Already took Medicae. Does this affect anything other than itself? No. We'll just take Demolition in case we ever lose Argenta. Only reviving with 1 hit point is not that great. Seems like fun. Oh, wait, hang on. We're going to be inflicting bleeding, right? This is probably get us more stacks. Nice. Now, a very fancy sword for you. Spinner's Blade. She's using one-handed weapon. That's weird. Put it in your main hand. Nothing special about that. Yeah, so she's just gonna kick extreme ass with this weapon, I think. Very nice. Alright, I'm gonna take a break, but I'm not going to end the video here unless I do, so maybe we'll continue or maybe I'll see you soon.